really, really hard topic to talk about, and I've kind of been like mulling this over for a couple days, and then because Father's Day is coming up, and I had been thinking about it, and then a friend kind of made a comment that made me think this was timely, and for me, I really needed to do it. So what I want to talk about is kind of both broad and very specific to myself. One, I want to talk about grief and loss and losing somebody, and how you maintain having them be part of your life after they're gone. And more specifically, I lost my father 10 years ago. And Father's Day is this weekend, and probably by the time you watch this, it probably is Father's Day. And it's very hard for me when, holidays and his birthday and Father's Day roll around, that I no longer have my dad. I can't just call him, I can't see him, I can't talk to him. And the conversation I have with my friend about this is that when someone loses someone, it's very hard for people to understand or know how to react when you bring that person up. Every time I mention my dad, even though I might not be mentioning my dad, I'm not telling the story of how he passed away, but when I bring something up and it comes up that he's no longer with us, it always turns to like sympathy or pity, or people saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss," and focusing on that, and they don't really know what to say. Where I don't need anything to be said, and I think probably a lot of people kind of feel this way, that when you've lost somebody, when you've lost somebody freshly, that is very much kind of, you need that support and comfort. But over time, you're not looking for that kind of immediate reassurance that everything's still okay, you're gonna be okay. And you're no longer looking for that. So talking about my dad is very much my way of keeping his memory alive, remembering things about him, still keeping him in my heart. I don't want to be like, "Oh, he passed away, I can never speak about him again," and every time I do, it has to be sad. So for me, it's very much a matter of being able to talk about my dad and talk about the good times and the happy memories, and not feel like it has to turn to a sad, sympathetic discussion or response from someone. And I do think, it is sad that he's not here, but I have a lot of happy childhood memories, and I just like to be able to laugh about things that he said that I remember, and I'd like to be able to share those. I like to share those with my husband, with my friends, and it can be hard when the immediate response is always like, "Oh, I'm sorry," And the truth is, I do miss my dad immensely, still to this day. It's been 10 years. I know people say that it gets easier, but it really doesn't. It's just more time has passed, and more things have happened that I was, sad or disappointed that I couldn't speak to my dad about. But I can still talk about his memories, and I actually find that straying from, refraining from speaking about him or not bringing up those memories for fear that it's going to turn into a sad sympathy situation kind of makes some of the memories slip away, and that scares me because I don't want to forget. I did bring a tissue because I thought I might get emotional about this, and this is part of what I think is difficult, is that it can be emotional, and it doesn't have to be. Every conversation doesn't have to be emotional. I don't get emotional just if I'm telling like a funny thing my dad used to say. I don't get like super sad and teary about that, I should say. For me, it's like a positive memory. It's when it turns to, people talking about sympathy. I'm feeling emotional right now because I've realized, and I am realizing, that by not talking about him as much, like I am, some of those memories are kind of just slipping away from me, and that really hurts deeply. I don't want to forget anything. All I have are memories. I can't make new memories. All I have are the old ones, and I don't want to forget any of the memories I have. So yeah, I know probably if you don't know me well and don't know the story, I'm sure everyone always wants to know, like, how did they die? Everyone asks that. So the short summary of it is 10 years ago, my dad passed away, but 7 years before that, he had a heart attack. He was okay, meaning under treatment and doing okay for those 7 years. But then towards the end, he was having some issues again and ended up having surgery. He had a blood clot and ended up passing from that. So that is just the short version. I'm not going to get into my experience of that day or anything like that because it will be full on bawling. It is very emotional and hard for me. I'm not saying I blocked that day out because I will never be able to forget that day, but it is very, very hard for me to just kind of deal with the memory of that day. It's very hard. Something's in my eye, and it's not tears. Blood. My eye's bothering me all of a sudden. But yeah, my dad was a really funny, corny guy. He was old-fashioned in a lot of ways, but he was the kind of person who would make up like little rhymes about stuff, and he also just knew a lot of like old school rhymes and sayings and stories, and he was just like a corny jokester, but at the same time he was kind of also restrained, I guess. Like wasn't like a big talker, big chatty guy. He was kind of like a private person. As he got older, he did share some of his learned wisdom, but he was really kind of like fun and playful and joking. And I definitely think I got that goofy side of my personality from him. Something else I am so grateful to have kind of gotten or learned from my dad is he was an avid, voracious reader and read tons of books. And when I was young, I read the same books he did. There was never any, you're too young to read that, and I really appreciate that because I don't think that, I don't think it was a cognitive, like a conscious decision of his. I just think he thought if you should be able to read whatever you want. Or I don't even know if he even thought, I don't even know if it was any kind of thought process, honestly. But he allowed it. He let me read the books that he had, and I feel like that was a terrific experience. And yeah, I don't know why we worry so much about what's age appropriate for kids when it comes to that. They should be able to read what they can handle. It's not wasn't like pornographic or anything. But I did read like Stephen King really young and whatnot. But yeah, my dad was not he wasn't a writer or anything like that, but I do think that my desire to write came from my love of reading and just knowing that a book can take you in a whole other world. And so I'm just so grateful to my dad for that. And yeah, so I know this is kind of like a strange video. It's all over the place. And I don't even know if there's no cohesive line of thought here, I guess. It's really just, I miss my dad and Father's Day and, just cherish the times you do have. And if you've lost your dad or someone else, don't be afraid to talk about them. Don't be afraid to share your memories, because sharing your memories keeps them alive, keeps them, leaves their mark. And not sharing their memories because you're worried that people will really, go to the sad side, means that you're probably more likely to forget things. And yeah, so I know this is kind of like a downer video, but happy Father's Day. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Give your dad a hug, because I wish I could hug mine.